Hello, welcome back to the Red Devils Den podcast. And yes, we're back for the second time in the space of 4 days. We're going to be talking about Chelsea, the Europa League draw, and the Real Sociedad game. So why not have Dan kick us off? What was your thoughts on the Real Sociedad game on Thursday?
It was boring. it was a crap game, but I mean, we got through, and that was the main thing. It was just one of those things. I mean, we've done the work away from home, so there wasn't any mounting pressure on the players to get the goals. I mean, we made a good couple of chances. Bruno hit the bar. Dan James had a chance. I think overall it was quite an even game. They made some good chances as well, and obviously Axel was unlucky to get his goal disallowed. Rightly so, I feel, but. Yeah, probably it wasn't a very memorable game, but I thought the job was done in the first leg, and we moved forward.
Yeah. So, a part of what was your thoughts on the likes of Ahmad Showa TV coming off the bench? So that was one of the main positives.
It was no surprise to me that Ahmad looked right at home straight away. He while he didn't get as much of the ball as we would like, when he did get it, he looked right with it. And I think the fact that he didn't get much of the ball isn't some sort of indictment of what his teammates think of him. I think it's the fact our team hasn't had a right winger for so long that we're used to building up through our left, and we've got to get used to the new dynamic. But we've now got a right winger. We haven't had one of those for a very long time. So I think it's inevitable that it's going to take a little bit of adjustment to get used to the fact we can now build in different areas of the pitch whenever we like, rather than like almost being forced to build down the left.
Yeah, I completely agree. What about Shola? What do you think? How is his sort of? I know it's not his debut, but that's definitely the longest he's had in a senior game so far.
I think he looked fine. He didn't look like he was overawed by the occasion, which is kind of all you hope, really, just that they deal with it okay. I wouldn't be surprised if that is his last appearance for a little while, but not because he didn't play well, but because of the way that the draws worked, that we've now got players back, we've got a tough draw, so we might not see him again for a little while, maybe till towards the end of the season. But like I say, that's not because he played badly. That's just the way it works with integrating a young player.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to throw him in sort of in this next 6 or 7 games, which is probably going to make or break the season, that's probably when he's going to, it's going to be a bit too much for him, especially, I feel. Yeah. I think you're back on with that.
Yeah, 100%. So, I don't want to spend too much time on the Real Sociedad game because we got, a lot of stuff to talk about. But just briefly, Ryan, what was your thoughts on, the game overall? The youth coming off the bench, and your thoughts on the Europa League as a whole as well.
Yeah, like Dan said, the game was won in Turin, so I knew this game was going to be boring and stuff like that. But obviously, it was good to get match fitness for some players, and obviously the youth Ahmad and Shola, they had a few nice touches on the ball. So yeah, and about the Europa, I'm confident. I think we can win it. I'm not scared of AC Milan. I think we're favourites, to be honest. And I think we'll win it, to be honest.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the draw, and you touched on it there. It's difficult because the amount of difficult draws. I say difficult twice, but difficult draws that we've had this season. I suppose sort of last season as well. Look at the Champions League, PSG, RB Leipzig. The semi-finalists, and then the finalists of last year's Champions League, and then in the Carabao Cup we got City, FA Cup we've had Liverpool, West Ham, Leicester. There's something fishy going on there surely. United decision. What was your thoughts on the draw?
There was a great stat or not a stat, but a little factoid that I saw on Twitter just before this, that after the draw, United will now have faced the leaders of all of the top 5 leagues in Europe at some point this season, through the various draws in the Champions League and the Europa League. to me, the draw is very manageable. Milan have been on a downhill trajectory this year. They've kind of stumbled in 2021, a little bit similar to us, but I would say they haven't recovered quite as well. And so I think we'll beat them over 180 minutes. So that's not going to be a huge issue. I think we have a good chance at winning the Europa League moving forward. The teams that scare me the most are honestly the other Premier League teams, because we obviously lost 6-1 to Spurs, and then on the other side, we can't seem to beat Arsenal anymore. So given both of those things, those are the only two teams that I think will be standing in our way. Otherwise, it really should be a clear path to a trophy for Ollie.
Yeah, I think the main threat, apart from AC Milan, is, yeah, I agree, is probably Tottenham and Arsenal, and particularly Arsenal, because it's been difficult for us to beat them under Mikel Arteta. Even under Unai Emery was sort of tricky. But yeah, we haven't got a good record against them recently. I thought the last time we played them we were going to win, sort of get revenge, but nah. But then again, if we get them in the quarterfinal, semis, or final, if we do get there, I would be confident that we sort of put that to bed and beat them. But
we have to be hoping that essentially, you might remember Ollie had a great record against Frank Lampard all of last season, and then in the FA Cup semi-final, all of a sudden they completely destroyed us in the first half, and they ended up winning the game and going on to the final. And so I would hope that we kind of have a similar situation here, where Arteta might have a great record against Ollie, but in the moment where it counts in the cup, in the final, hopefully. But if we see them earlier, then we're able to take advantage and start equalizing that record a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And finally, Corey, what was your thoughts on the draw? Because obviously AC Milan get to see Diogo Dalot, who I'm a big fan of. I don't think any of you are, but yeah, go on, Corey. What were your thoughts?
I'm just happy we don't have to play any of the big rival clubs like Tottenham, Arsenal. If we got someone else, then that would make me feel more comfortable. But because of where Milan have been all season, I think it's going to be interesting to see Zlatan's mindset, given he was at us for a season. Delot's, he's technically our player still. He's just at Milan for the season on loan. They've got very good players like Donnarumma, Romagnoli, Kessie in midfield. It's going to be interesting to see if the injury problems are sorted by then, like the likes of Van der Beek, Cavani, Matt, Pogba. And if Dean plays in those games, which I think he will, if he gets more good games under his belt, then I think we will decimate Milan.
Decimate is a strong word.
Yeah, it's a very strong word.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Corey always says that, but then when it gets to 60 minutes, 0-0, he's saying, "Oh, we're going to lose. We're going to lose." But yeah, I think it's going to be close. Yeah, yeah. We've talked about Real Sociedad, the Europa League draw. I'm sure, hopefully, we'll get through. Then it's quarterfinals, semi-finals, final. We've still got quite a few games to go, so we can't be saying, "Oh, we're going to win the competition." There's still a lot of games to be played, but yeah, in terms of
I'm sorry. One thing that I just wanted to say one more thing here on this. One of the things that stood out to me about this, the draw, was the fact that 10, 12 years ago, this would have been a classic game in the last 8 of the Champions League. And it goes to show how bad ownership can really impact a club. We obviously, with the Glazers, most of the people listening will know about them and the way they financially drained the club. But Milan in the middle was sold to, I believe, a Chinese company, and they didn't end up having the funds to actually sustain the club. They spent 200 million in the transfer market and then realized they didn't have any money. And the club basically got repossessed by an American asset management firm, who've now kind of stabilized them a little bit and gotten a structure going and started bringing them back. But they haven't been in the Champions League in close to 10 years, I want to say. And obviously our commercial wealth has somewhat managed to keep us at least in the Champions League at times during our wobble. But it really just goes to show how important ownership and leadership from the top can be, that a classic end of the Champions League match 10, 12 years ago is now a Europa League round of 16 match.
This is a game that should be in the Champions League. I completely agree. But there's two absolute giants of European football, and you can sort of make some, like you was mentioning, you can make some direct comparisons between the two clubs, and it's sort of strange now how we sort of both declined, and now we're sort of slowly both making our way on a sort of upwards trajectory a little bit. I mean, I know they've dropped off, but they're doing a lot better than they were. So it is sort of strange how we sort of declined around about the same time, and now we're sort of coming back up again. Like I said, there's two huge clubs European football. I mean, you just look at the games from 2007, 2010. You know, they have players like Dida, Gattuso, you know, Kaká, Clarence Seedorf, Pirlo. You know, we had likes of Rooney, Ronaldo. You know, these clubs should be in the Champions League, and this should be a quarter final of that competition. But yeah, just like you say, it's poor ownership.
Yeah, you know, we can sort of relate to that in terms of poor ownership. You know, Milan have had it. You know, Man United have had it. But yeah, you know, as I say, Europa League draw is interesting, but I think you know we've got a decent chance. And then, but yeah, looking forward to the weeks ahead. We've got, I think, Chelsea, Palace, and Man City. And I know Chelsea have 14 points from their last 6 Premier League games since Tuchel took over, which is pretty solid. They've only conceded 2 goals as well. So, you know, it sort of looks to me like another 0-0, doesn't it? Because against the top 6 sides this season, we drew quite a lot of 0-0, including the one earlier in the season against Chelsea. But yeah, United with Sergio, what was your thoughts on, you know, the weeks ahead and your expectations as well?
So to me, given where we are in the league right now, I don't think we have a chance of winning the title at this point. I think it's all about preserving second place in that top 4 spot. And so I look at it in somewhat of a defensive way, which is a draw against Chelsea, a draw against City, and then beat Palace in midweek, and it's a good week. So I'm looking for 5 points, assuming that the 2 draws come against the 2 big teams, because obviously it wouldn't work as well the other way if you had, I guess it wouldn't be possible to get 5 points if we lost to Chelsea. But I mean, I think you kind of see where I'm coming from, that it's important to make sure we're not giving up ground to our rivals this week. So I would say 2 draws and win in midweek against Palace would be good. Just to build on what you were saying earlier about Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, they've gone ahead and had the best joint defense with Man City, only conceding twice. They have the lowest XGA of any team in the Premier League since he took over, of 3.14 in 6 matches. But on the other hand, they're 7th for goals scored and 7th for XG. So they're not a great attacking side under Tuchel so far, but they've definitely improved defensively. And like you say, a 0-0 honestly wouldn't be surprising. And I know a lot of our fans would complain about that, but I don't think it would be a bad result. Like I said, 5 points is a good week.
You know, that's strange with the XG and the being 7th in the goals scored, because I saw a stat the other day that they've made the most passes in the final third since Thomas Tuchel arrived.
I haven't looked into the details of that, but it's entirely possible it's Louis van Gaal style passing, because they have had 70% possession in some of these matches, just passing it out around outside the box. So I haven't looked at that, but it's one possible reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, people have, you know, sort of made fun of Tuchel as, I don't know if it's Tuchel or Tuchel, I don't know, but they've sort of made fun of him saying, oh, he's the next Louis van Gaal. But I reckon if you give him a couple of years, you know, the style of play would have really sunk in, and then, you know, with the right signings, I reckon they can probably win the league eventually.
He's
you
a
know,
brilliant
if they have
coach.
The sort of luck with Liverpool, etc.
He's a brilliant coach, but you said give him a couple of years. His history so far has been he doesn't get a couple of years because he falls out with those superior to him. He fell out at PSG, he fell out at Borussia Dortmund. So I don't know if he's going to be there in 18 months' time, but he's a brilliant coach while he's there.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But if he does get those couple of years, if he doesn't fall out, you know, I think they can have success. But yeah, while he's there, it's going to be they're going to be a difficult team to beat, I imagine. But yeah, Apollo, what was your thoughts on, you know, the expectations for, you know, now in the next few games?
I'm kind of quietly confident about the Chelsea game. I'd slightly disagree, because with the way that they're playing under Tuchel, they have so much possession. They play high up the pitch, all we know how good a counter-attacking team we are. If you look back at the Chelsea game earlier in the season, Lampard turned up with no intention other than to get a 0-0. Tuchel won't do that, and I feel like that kind of plays into our hands a little bit. So while I don't know whether or not we'll win, I don't think it will be a 0-0 like the first game at all. I think this is more suited to us than the game against Lampard earlier in the season.
Yeah, true. Now you're saying that. I mean, they sort of play like a possession style, obviously, but the defensive record is really good. So I can't see us scoring like 2-3 goals, but I can see us scoring 1, maybe 2. It's just about whether that defense holds up. Yeah, they've obviously got some quality players that can do us some real trouble. But yeah, Corey, what was your expectations looking forward in these next few games?
We play Crystal Palace. Given how well they played against us, because we couldn't handle them at the start of the season. We shouldn't be losing. We shouldn't be losing 3-1 to a mid-table side, and we lost 5-1 to Tottenham. That's just pathetic from United standards.
6-1, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't have a pre-season then. To be fair, that's not entirely fair.
Yeah, but come on. You can't expect United standards to get turned over by Crystal Palace. They've got Wilfred Zaha, who's a quality player, but you expect we've got the quality players, we've got the big transfer budget, we've got expectations, get in the Champions League or win trophies. How are we going to do that if we can't beat the lower teams and get good results? Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel always switch up the squads. Thing about Frank Lampard, he was just going for like Reece James, right back, Thiago Silva, Mendy. When Thomas Tuchel comes over, he just plays whoever he wants. He switches it up. I haven't seen Ben Chilwell since Thomas Tuchel has arrived.
Yeah, that is a bit strange.
Is it because Aspilicueta's got more qualities than Chilwell does? Look at
I think
Giroud.
it's because Alonso suits the back three a bit more than Chilwell does, and he obviously likes to play that back three.
Yeah. Well, I want to beat Chelsea so bad because I hate Chelsea and Liverpool and Man City. I just despise them so much. I want to destroy them. I want to win every single game, but a draw I would take. If we play well, I would take that as a bonus as well. But if it's just like a scrappy goal to get us a point, to me that seems like a loss.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Palace, I mean, obviously, we said at the start of the season, there was no pre-season, so you do have that excuse. I mean, I don't think anyone was happy when we lost 3-1 to Crystal Palace at the start of the season, but I think there was a section of people that sort of understood, we're going to have to be patient for a while, and I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that we're going to see a much better performance this time around when we face the likes of
I see where you come from. We haven't had a pre-season, but that's not a cover story. That's just not good enough. Because think of all the teams that in the Premier League that were the same situation as us. They didn't get overturned by a low-rated team.
There were two teams in that situation. It was us and Man City because of our involvement in the Europa League and the Champions League towards the end of last season. And City also had a slow start. You remember, I think back in October, people were talking about whether they might make top 4 or not. And now they've won 19 in a row. We've lost one of our last, I think, 19 league matches. So it's pretty typical, I think, if you don't have a preseason in the Premier League where the gaps between the top sides and the mid-table sides aren't as big as some other some other leagues in Europe. It's pretty typical that you would have some struggles if you're 2-3 weeks behind on your fitness. And Ollie basically touched on that yesterday in the post-match comments after Sociedad. he was talking about our defensive record, and he said that we conceded 11 in the first 3 matches, but he doesn't count that because that was a unique situation with the preseason that won't occur in future seasons. And I think he's right on the money about that. Apollo actually predicted that. I remember at the time I was a little bit worried about where United might go this season and whether things would unravel like they did under Jose Mourinho. And Apollo said, wait, there's no preseason, give it time, the season will correct. And lo and behold, we're second in the league and progressing in all these cups. So I think while it's not an excuse that we would want to make, it is valid from the results that we've seen thereafter.
Yeah, I agree. The pre-season is so underestimated from spectators, because footballers, when the season ends in like, what was it, March, April, May, something like that? Like an average calendar. My head's gone. I'm just annoyed.
Typically in May, or early June.
Yeah. They have like a month just sit on the beach, drink Corona, whatever they want to do, and then they have 3-4 matches after a month just to get their legs going again. But if you don't have that mindset and those matches to play, obviously you're going to fall back. But I just don't expect that from us.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, we acknowledge that, we needed that preseason, but I suppose you still sort of expect us to get at least a point against Crystal Palace. But yeah, what can you do? That's in the past. We're a much better team now. So Ryan, I don't think we got your thoughts on the expectations for the road ahead. I don't think we did any. What's your thoughts on Chelsea?
Looking at our fixtures, we've got obviously Chelsea, Palace, and City. But what gives me confidence is that they're all away. And if we look at our away record, it's been really good. So yeah, I'm quietly confident. I think if we get 5 points or more, I think I'll be chuffed with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of points tally, I mean, usually when you see 3 games, 2 of them very difficult games, sort of thing, maybe I think United was said 2 draws and a win. I would concur with that. I think that would be a good sort of points tally to get. Okay, so moving on to the Chelsea lineup. So obviously we always say this: we want Dean Henderson in goal, but it's probably going to be De Gea. That's fine. We've established that. So moving on to the defence, I think sort of Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Maguire probably nailed on. But Dan, what was your thoughts on, is it going to be Bay, Lindelof? What do you think?
Can I interrupt quickly, because we've just had news about this? Ollie's just done an interview with MUTV, and he says McTominay's definitely out.
That's massive.
He says they, meaning Paul Pogba and Scott, are out. They've not trained. Edinson hasn't trained yet, so I wouldn't be too optimistic about that. But miracles can happen.
Any news about Donny van de Beek?
He trained today and he felt okay after training, so hopefully there's no reaction. He should be with us. It was just a tweak for Dan James.
All right, so basically it sounds like no Cavani starting at least. Definitely no McTominay. Van de Beek probably could start, but Ollie's not going to pick him, so let's not worry about that, I guess. And Dan James is okay. Now I guess we can get back to Reese's intro about the starting 11.
Yeah, so Dan, we sort of know mostly what the defense is going to be, but just go ahead and give us your opinions on that.
What was that? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, in terms of the defense, it's probably going to be Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Shaw. But
yeah. I mean, we always want to see Maguire and Bailly together. That is probably our best centre-back partnership. But given the fact that Bailly and Lindelof played the other day, I'd probably say Lindelof's obviously the fitter of the two at the moment, despite his back problems. So we probably are going to see Maguire and Lindelof. I would love to see Maguire and Bailly, obviously, you know, they've got some quick players, you know, like Pulisic, Mount, Werner's quick as well. But then again, if they play Giroud, then I wouldn't have as big of a problem of with Lindelof starting alongside Maguire.
Wait, I'm sorry. You wouldn't have a problem if they played Giroud and we played Lindelof? I think that's probably the most concerning center back matchup for me.
Have you seen Giroud's goal? He's in form recently.
Yeah, he's probably their best striker.
Yeah, but I think what Dan meant was, you know, Giroud is very slow.
Yeah,
I know
that's
he's
true.
really good in the air, so you know he could give Lindelof some problems. But you know,
Either way, though, if
Bailly
you want to
is
cover
better than that.
speed, if you want to cover speed, you want to cover in the air. Either way, Eric Bailly is the better option. Although I would
Exactly.
honestly go with 3 at the back.
Yeah, I agree too.
I don't know. I would go with 4 at the back. I think we haven't barely used 4 at the back all season.
I say we should just use the formation we've used all season. That's our strongest point. So we might as well just go what we're most comfortable with. No point switching up against Chelsea. We might as well keep it simple, what we're used to. So
I take your point, but the thing that always is in the back of my head is last season we had fantastic results against the top 6 and struggled against everyone else. Most of our results against the top 6 came playing the 3-5-2 formation. And we were doing really well with it. And then all of a sudden, Ollie abandons it. And we've been either 0-0 or 1-0 loss, 6-1 to Spurs. The results have not been good in big matches with 4 at the back. So why not go back to what was working before, especially given Chelsea play 3 at the back so we can match up with them man-to-man. The problem with the 4-2-3-1 that I think we're going to have is while Thiago Silva is out for them, it's going to be probably, it looks like Anthony Martial against 3 center backs. First of all, I don't trust Anthony Martial against no center backs right now. But if we have him against 3, it's going to be a massive issue. He needs help up front.
Mm-hmm.
he might not start Martial though. So
who's he going to play?
Got no bloody choice.
To be fair, I see where Corey's coming from because there's been a few big games this season. I think against Liverpool, where Rashford started up front. You know, and it could be, you know, James on the left. It could be Greenwood on the right. I think there's a decent chance of that because obviously, you know, Martial's sort of out of form. You know, we could try and get him behind him with Rashford. You know, I think that could work. What do you think?
I agree with the surgeon. I think he was absolutely bang on. And the prime example of that formation working is the City game last year. I think it was in the Cup when we went 2-0 up in the first half, where Rashford and Martial played together. And they absolutely tore him apart on the counter-attack. And I think that's what made him play 2 defensive midfielders this year. So I think a 3-5-2 would actually be the best going into this Chelsea game, saying that.
Oh, so you would have Martial and Rashford as the strikers then?
Yeah, I'd have them as a front 2. They do well together.
Yeah, I see it. I can see that.
I would actually go with Rashford and Greenwood, honestly. But I can see the point for Rashford and Martial as well. The point is 3 at the back suits us in terms of giving us better matchups against their back 3. And then also they usually play with Giroud, with either Giroud or Abraham, and then behind him Mason Mount and Timo Werner on the wings, which means we're going to have a lot of attacking threat coming at us. Timo Werner plays left wing, but he's effectively a striker. So they're going to be basically playing 2 up top, kind of in a pseudo striker formation. And with 2 up top, you want the extra center back, I think. So 3-5-2 tactically makes a lot of sense in this particular match. I don't know if Ollie will go for it, but history and the matchup seem to suggest it's the best way to go.
It's the one Matt Derby mind.
Yeah, he's out, so.
Mania Matic derby as well, and he's actually going to play.
The Matic Derby for now.
Yeah, I thought McTominay would be fit.
Massive, isn't it?
I thought he'd be fit because, you know, Matic played 90 minutes, and if you're going to take, you know, one of those 2 off Fred and Matic, it would be Matic, but he took Fred off. So maybe Ollie thought McTominay would be fit. I don't know. Maybe maybe he's lying.
I don't get that decision either. I thought if McTominay was going to be out, I thought Galbraith would have maybe come on for like the last 20 minutes yesterday. Yeah, I'm really surprised that Matic played 90 minutes knowing now that McTominay's not going to make it.
Yeah, but wasn't Fred subbed off though, like at half time?
Yeah, half time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps he's got Fred in mind.
And not Matic.
Yeah, but we need another midfielder. Like I'm concerned now because Matic and Fred It worries me that.
Yeah, it's not the most creative, is it?
If I just because what I'm thinking is, if we do 3 at the back, we'll obviously have 2 CDMs. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd
yeah.
probably be
Fred and
Matic.
Matic.
What? I can't see it happening. But would he pick Twanzebe for a CDM? I wouldn't do it, but Ollie's choice.
Probably not in that game. He did do all right last night, though, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he could have had.
Yeah, but I think chucking him in against Chelsea, it's the first time he's started that as in that position. It's probably not. You know,
The way I
it'd be
think
fair on him.
the way I think he'd approach the creativity issue, if we did go 3 at the back, is probably to play Luke Shaw as the left center back, and then throw in Alex Telles, who's the more creative option, as the left wing back, and I think that would give us another outlet potentially for balls coming in.
So 3 centre back. Who would you have?
I would say I would go with probably Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire in the middle, and then Luke Shaw at the left center back position. There's a case for Eric Bailly. I would go with him in a 2 or in a 4 at the back formation, but Bailly, when he's played in a 3 at the back, pretty much always looks like a disaster. The thing that always sticks in my mind is the match against Paris when Ollie was the interim still, where he had to take him off after about 30 minutes. I don't really trust Bailly in a 3 at the back, so I would go with Lindelof, Maguire, and Luke Shaw.
So what I'm trying to think is, if we have Luke Shaw as our centre back, would he be able to go on the wing as he would do in a 4 formation? Because we've seen his set pieces and his crossing. How would Luke Shaw do that if Telles is playing left wing back?
They've done it before. They like alternate. So if Shaw goes forward, Telles stays back, and vice versa. They kind of take the different roles. And Shaw loves an underlap anyway, so that kind of works well in that respect.
So are we deciding that Twanzebe is not starting? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. He hasn't had many minutes. I don't think Ollie's going to say, okay, well, you haven't had a start in months. Congratulations. Here's your match against Chelsea. I don't think it's going to happen.
No. It's definitely most likely that Matic and Fred start on the pivot. If we are playing a back 3, then it's probably going to be Shaw, Maguire, and Lindelof. I know Ollie said something about Bay and Lindelof are going to play more together, but if you think they're going to just stop playing Maguire, that's just you're kidding yourself.
Actually, sorry, just jumping back in here. Now that you mentioned that quote from Ollie, one of the things that does pop into my mind is, like I said earlier, Timo Werner is going to be playing off of the left as a kind of pseudo striker. Ollie could potentially go with Bailly on the right side with Wan-Bissaka as the right wing back, and the two of them's job basically would just be to stop Werner with pace, and then you would have Lindelof in the middle and Maguire on the left, and I think that would work as well. Personally, like I said, I don't trust Eric Bailly in a 3 at the back, but just going off that quote, maybe he's thinking about just throwing in Bailly, Lindelof, and Maguire.
But last time we saw Bailly play in the Prem, I think he had one of the best games in a United shirt. So if he can do that, why not use him if he's playing that well? Obviously, he's got injuries, but everyone's going to get injured sometime.
Yeah, but Eric Bailly has broken more bones than most hospitals will see from patients. It's a serious problem.
That's the thing. I mean, we've spoken like for 10 minutes about the formation, but I think there's a good chance Bay will start, especially certainly if we play a back 3. I don't think we'll play a back 3. I know a few of you said you think we will or you think we should, but yeah, if we do play a back 3, it's going to be those players, Fred and Matic in the pivot. But if we play a back 4, it's also going to be Fred and Matic in the pivot. But in terms of and Bruno Fernandes obviously, so. Apollo, what was your thoughts on like the forwards? Do you think James will kind of start because he played quite a few games?
It would depend what system we actually go with, because if we're playing a 3 at the back, then I wouldn't play James. But if we were playing a 4 at the back, then I would. So it would be entirely dependent on that. If we are playing 4 at the back, I think he would be a really good choice in this particular game. He's not even without the form. This is the sort of game that really suits him, and he's also in really good form. But yeah, if it's a three at the back, then no, I wouldn't play him.
So
Yeah.
you're saying three at the back, James? No. So who would you pick?
In a back four.
Wait, what do you want? Do you want to know who I would pick in a back three?
If we're using a three at the back formation or five
Yeah.
at the back, oh, my head's gone. Just
Yeah.
if James is not one of the squads, reasons, please.
I would. He's not suited to a two up front that you'd have in the three at the back. So if we were playing three at the back, I'd play Rashford and Greenwood. But if we are playing four at the back, then I would play James.
So that would then be a three of Rashford, Greenwood, and James. You wouldn't start Anthony Martial either way.
No.
Yeah, my argument for Martial, I probably wouldn't play him, but if we are playing a back three, you need one of those strikers to be able to hold the ball up. And I know he hasn't been doing it that well recently, but I don't think Greenwood, Rashford, can they really hold the ball up well? Because he's got a great touch, good pass on him, Martial.
Does the goal against Chelsea?
He does love a goal against
United
Chelsea.
versus Chelsea.
You have to
Yeah,
remember
yes.
though.
What
You
was
have to
your thoughts?
remember he did play the full game yesterday.
That's another sign, I think, honestly, that Ollie's considering going with either without Martial in the four or with the three at the back. And like Apollo was saying, I agree with him entirely. If it's three at the back, I would go with Greenwood on the right striker position and Rashford on the left striker role. So kind of the split strikers that we usually go with in that formation. If it's going to be 4-2-3-1 as usual, then Mason Greenwood on the right, Dan James on the left, and Marcus Rashford up top would probably be the way that I would approach it. I could see the argument for going with Dan James on the right, Greenwood in the middle, and Rashford on the left. I don't think that's a huge issue, whatever way you play those front three. But yeah, I wouldn't play Martial either, despite his excellent form against Chelsea historically.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I think Martial starts the bench.
Yeah, I think the most likely formation is four at the back, and then probably Rashford up front. I would say. I don't think he'll play. Martial. I don't. But yeah, Dan, what was you thinking about the forward line?
I would play Martial and Rashford together as a front two. I would. I don't. Everyone get your pitchforks and your torches out, but no, I would. I think Martial and Rashford work really, really well together, especially when we play a back three. So that's what I would go with. But obviously, given the fact that Martial had a full 90 last night, I think Greenwood is in the plans to start at the weekend, and he could even start at the 9. Although I know no one likes it, but I see Martial starting regardless, just because I've just got a feeling.
I don't think it's a situation where someone will be starting that you want to sell. It's not a bad thing that he starts. It's just about preferences. So I wouldn't particularly have an issue if Martial starts. It just wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah, given who we have out, I agree with Apollo. It's not that I want to sell Anthony Martial and don't think he can contribute. He's got good form against Chelsea, and hopefully he can play his way back into that if he does start. But we have 3 better options available as the thing. So that's the way that I would look at it.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all I've got, to talk about. I don't know if there was anything else you guys wanted to cover. No? Okay, so we're going to end on predictions then. I'm going to go Chelsea 1, Manchester United 1. I was not amazingly positive, but Chelsea are a good team. I think we do okay to come out with a draw. I think there's a good chance we win, but I think there's a good chance Chelsea win as well. So I don't know. I just sort of go in the middle and go with a draw. So Dan, what was you thinking?
I'm going to go positive and say 2-1 United.
Okay, and Corey?
Yeah, I'll back that 2-1.
Ryan?
Sorry to be negative, but after hearing that news, I think we're going to lose 2-1.
Yeah.
Get out.
United, United decision.
You know, I'm on the fence a little bit, honestly, but I'm on the fence in a negative way. I want to say 1-1, but I think there's a reasonable case it's going to be 2-1 Chelsea, and the unbeaten away run is going to come to an end. So I'm going to say, unfortunately, 2-1 Chelsea, the unbeaten away run comes to an end.
No. Oh.
And Apollo, what do you think?
I'm sticking with what I said earlier. I'm quietly confident given the way Chelsea play, so I'm going 2-1 United.
Yeah, I get
At
that.
least someone has hope.
I do love how nobody predicted a 0-0 despite it being our most likely scoreline against top 6 opposition this season.
The thing with
Yeah.
us is that we've always got a goal in us that we can score at any time. So
Yeah, but we've always also got a goal to give away, and us is the problem. Otherwise, the season would be going better than it is. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast. And if you made it this far, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at the Red Devils Den. And thank you. We'll see you hopefully after a better result against Chelsea.